Voila! In view, a humble vaudevillian veteran, cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. This visage, no mere veneer of vanity, is a vestige of the vox populi, now vacant, vanished, and is vowed to no stands vivified. I always kind of fall apart there in the middle. So today we were talking about V for Vendetta, and I'm going to have to talk really quick and or condense what I want to say because I could talk literally for hours about this movie. I kind of want to talk a lot about bravery and society and heroes and things like that, and I don't really have any of what I'm planning on saying mapped out, so I might kind of jump back and forth a little bit. I hope that's okay. To begin with, I think that one of the most important things about the movie V for Vendetta is the fact that it includes society in the fixing of society. I think that a lot of movies just have this one hero who's able to do everything on his own. And I mean, to some degree, V, I think, does that, and I'm going to talk later about whether or not that's problematic. But I think that some of the best things about the movie is that it acknowledges the society, and I think that those TV broadcasts you get where you get to watch the reactions of people are amazing. And I mean, I think that the reason why that's so important is kind of like V points out in his broadcast, that the people are the ones to blame for the problem. And I mean, I think that looking at our own society, whether you're talking about the government or whether you're talking about, popular culture, media, etc., it is our fault that things are messed up. And you can say they aren't messed up if you want to. I think that a lot of things in a lot of places are very messed up. And so I think that when V refers to everyone and he says, you let it get this way, it is entirely the fault of society for allowing evil to exist within it. That they didn't stand up to this one politician, or, it doesn't even have to be politics, or at least I don't think it has to be politics. It could be, this one actor, this one actress, or this one musician, or anyone that gets away with spreading bad culture, spreading hate, spreading things that make people worse. So I think that because it's society's fault, it's also society's role to fix itself. It's fixing as it's a society. So the fact that at the end you have everyone there taking part in this, it's really important. And the fact that he lets Evie be the one to make the choice, I think, is very important because he's not a part of society. He's not us. He is the hero, the villain, the other thing. So I think that it's very important that the choice lies with someone who, as he says, is going to get to inhabit and build that world, as opposed to him who has no place in it. And I think that the movie is a lot about courage. I mean, thinking about Evie and what she goes through during the scenes where she's captured, not to give too much away, that's something that helps to make her fearless. And that's something that even V points out, that's what she needed. Is that at the end there, all of those people are there, even though there were the soldiers that could potentially kill them, and were pretty definitely supposed to. But they didn't care. The people were still there. And I think that that's the reason why we let these problems get out of hand, is that we're afraid to stand up, or we're afraid that, if I say something about how this upsets me, that people think I'm weird, or people will, be offended, or I'll hurt someone, or make them upset or something. But I think that the important thing is that people being happy and people being right or better are not the same things. I don't think that V for Vendetta is a very happy movie, but I think that it's one that inspires people to be better. And so I think that a lot of times it has courage, or it takes courage, to stand up for something that you believe in, especially if you know that other people are going to be upset about it. But especially if you're inspiring those people to be better, or just being better yourself. Now, I want to take a brief moment to talk about something that is kind of a new idea to me that I hadn't really thought about other times that I'd watched this movie. I want to talk about V as a necessary evil, because he's not a hero. He's not a good guy. He is a monster. That is very clear, especially after everything that happens to Evie. V is a terrible, terrible person. That's why he knows he can't live in the world that he's trying to create. But, at the same time, he is the only person who has the courage to set the things in motion. He's the only one with the resources, however he got those resources, to set things in motion. And so, even though he is a villain, it seems like without him, no one else would have been able to become better or braver or more courageous, and no one would have been able to change things. And I don't like this on the one hand because I want to believe that good is what prevails and that people can change things through good means. But increasingly, with my paying attention to politics or anything else, I've run into this thing where whenever people tend to fight for a strong good idea, they end up running into walls and things like that. I mean, there are some movements that work over time, but that anyone who proposes radical change and radically cutting out the problems with our overly bureaucratic society, they get shut down and they fail to be able to inspire people. Whereas what V does is big, it's bold, it's in people's faces, and it inspires people, even if sometimes it's evil. I think that there are good people who got hurt in V's name. Potentially some of the people who worked at the news station that got shot at were not bad people. Potentially. I don't know them. But the point is that V isn't a normal person. He isn't a member of society. This is clear, as I've kind of said repeatedly throughout this. But he seems necessary. And so looking at our own world and looking at the problems in that, I kind of have to run into this wall with, do we need a figure like that? Do we need someone that is that blatant, that powerful, that potentially evil, in order to instill real change? Because I think that it's very disheartening to look at the political scene. The political scene. It's very disheartening to look at what's happening with culture, what's happening with media, what's happening as a society. I get very depressed thinking about it, and it's even more depressing if I think that my only hope is potentially a madman. That I, as someone who wants to be a member of society fixing society, as opposed to an extreme villain or something, or who wants to believe that someone can fix society without becoming a villain, wonders. So I guess my question to you guys, after all of this long talking that I'm sure went way over time, do we need someone like V in order to bring about real change? Or can real change be brought about by the normal people, whether that's the people in the media, people who were bloggers, people who, even authors and artists and things like that? As we're told, artists use lies to tell the truth. Can they tell the truth loud enough to fix society when it clearly doesn't want to listen? The only verdict is vengeance. A vendetta held as a votive not in vain, but for the value and veracity, as such shall one day vindicate the vigilant and the virtuous. Verily, this vichyssoise of verbiage veers most verbose. Allow me to say that it is my great pleasure to meet you, and you may call me V.